Today we start the install. Hopefully we can get this finished. But first I need to move my Honda stuff. Let's get this bad boy stuff out of the way. Circuit breakers that I discussed yesterday go for the Civic and to the 240. Harnesses and bubble wrap. Now the goodies again. So what I'm gonna do is dry fit it first. I'm gonna empty out the little bit of fuel I got in the tank, try to pump that out and clear the tank so I'm freely able to see how long these hoses I need. I might not even use the crimp style because it's going to be harder to remove. Obviously you might have to cut those. I'm going to use some stainless steel for at least the top side on the bulkhead side. So right now I'm going to get my tools together that I'll need to do some of the crimping. Molex crimper. I'll show you the one I have. It does the job, but it's not the greatest. Looking at investing in a bigger, better one, because the one that I have, it crimps all right, but I seen better, and you would want better professional crimps on higher quality stuff, I guess, or to get the best connection that you need. So let me get the tools together, and we'll get this all separated and move on, I guess. So what I'm going to use is this fluid pump. Bought it at Harbor Freight, but as you can see, I use this one to pump in all my Redline heavy shock proof for my RB26 transmission. So that's in the transmission. So I guess there's some residue left in here, but I want to make sure it's cleaned out because I could use the fuel. I mean, it's not that much, but it's better to clean this out before I start pumping it and whatnot. So what I did is just put a little bit of electrical tape on some stainless steel welding rod so I could guide this to the bottom of the tank so I can get all this fuel out, and should be good. I know this electrical tape will break down, but it's not gonna be long. I do not have but like probably less than 1/8 of a tank in there, so here we go. Working pretty well. I was able to get it all the way pretty much where the fuel pumps are at, or fuel pumps will be. Way easier than pumping the gear oil or transmission oil. That is like if anybody's done that, you'll know what I mean. I think that's all we got. So that actually done the trick. Man, it's probably like 2.5 gallons. You can see in there. It's up to, yeah, about halfway. So this is a 5-gallon tank or can. And like I said, I use electrical tape. Yeah, this stuff will degrade in gas. Obviously, you can see how it's peeling off. Leave residue in there, but I did it really quick, so be good to go. So that worked. I wish I had a transfer pump, but
it would have been done in a jiffy, but manual pumps work.
So I have all my tools organized. I might be needing something else, we'll see. But what I plan to do, like I said, dry fit it in the tank and see where I need to trim and trim the fuel tubing and whatnot on that part. But what I'm opting to do is crimp connect the fuel sending unit wires, and that will be it inside the tank. I am gonna do soldering and shrink wrap on the wiring external. Now you probably could solder those wires inside, but use high caution, because fumes and heat and boom.
So here's a quick rundown of what I'm gonna use. Your install may vary, but some of the stuff will be the same. I have a Molex crimper, stripper. Stripper don't work that well. I'll use something simple because it's gonna strip pretty easy. I have a 10mm for the grounding wire on my chassis and a ratchet, some dikes, a screwdriver. Like I said, I'm gonna use stainless steel clamp because they won't rust out in the fuel. A few of the wire shrink wrap, 2 for the fuel pumps on the external side, and of course the crimp connectors that are right there, the pink ones, that will be for the fuel sending unit, and then also these crimps for the fuel pumps. And oh, very important, these are for the smaller nuts. The cap socket screw is a 764 Allen key, and then for the bigger ones, the grounding lugs, it is, I can't even read that. It looks like, I can't even make that out. It is dark in here. 5/32. Sorry about that. It's so dark right here, even though I'm under a light. So that's what I'll use to install. Oh yeah, the soldering equipment. I use a butane soldering iron because it gets hotter quicker, but you could use whatever you want, but just be careful.
So prepping this bulkhead, I stole my seal off the other bulkhead, the OEM one, because it's brand new, so it's good to go. And I rolled up one of the pump wires that goes to the pin out right here. So you need to make sure that that's out of the way. I wish I had a butt connector just to cover that, and I might just put something on it, so you know, but you just got to make sure you're pinning out and wiring in the pumps that you're using. This one's actually set up for 3 pumps, but it's a 2-pump hanker system, and that's all I'm going to use is 2 pumps. So I'm going to opt to use the red with black stripe and white with red with white stripe, and I've already done the wire stripping on these both, so you see there, getting ready for the crimping tool. And I've also done the 2 ground wires for the pumps. Sorry, I both stripped those 1/4 inch. So you see here, I wound up the excess wire. I don't want to cut it because you never know down the road. They might come out with a different hanger for 3 pumps and you might need it. So wiring these 2, and once I get all the plumbing connected here, I'll probably zip tie those off to the breather valve right here. Or actually, what is this? Yes, considered the breather valve, and should be good to go. For S14 tank, these are separate, like I stated in the other video. You're gonna need to be, if you're gonna access your pumps, you don't want these tight in there to where you can't pull it out of the tank. You know, you're gonna want to have some length so you can set the bulkhead aside and access your pumps. So leaving these as long as possible. Obviously the fuel pumps have a little bit of a pigtail that will make up some of this length, and obviously that's probably how they designed it anyway. So it'll give us a little bit more length to equal out what this black ground wire does. So yep, it'll definitely equal out the same distance, if you can kind of see that. So that's good to go. That's what I'm working with, because I know these pumps are a pain when you're pulling this off. You just got to have some length in there. Okay, day 2 of the hanger bulkhead install. I ran into yesterday, I spent several hours trying to slide the dual pump hanger, or sorry, the dual pumps past what this is called a sending unit. So in an S14 tank, this would be on the passenger side, so right side if you're looking at the tank from the rear, and it goes in an angle, right? These connect to the bulkhead. This one connects in the tank to another sensor or something like that. But this is your sending unit, and this one I believe cost me $300 because I bought it brand new, because mine was not working properly. So this is the bracket that's in the tank, or yeah, on the tank, in the front of the tank. So it slides on in this little keyway, the little fork area, and then this clips in. You see right there, clips into right here. Pain in the ass to get off in the tank. So what I did was I pull it up off of the tank and wiggle it out into the whole area, and then you're able to get a little, I used a shorty, I'm just using the long one right here, under this tab right here. And mind you, trying to do it in the tank, impossible, man. It'll make you lose your mind. So anyhow, you pop the tab up, and then you got to shimmy the bracket away, because it clips on. You see that? Shimmies away, and you pull that off. Then you could remove both. So now on to the install. Here's why I have this out right now. The pumps. I had a hard enough time sliding the Y pumps where it goes across the saddle. I'll get you some in-tank shots for that. There's a saddle in the tank. I don't know why they put it there, honestly, but there's a saddle in the tank where the pump used to go. I believe it was on the left side. The sending unit was on the right. But for my dual pump setup that I did, I had it wide. One was going under the sending unit, and one was going to the left in that saddle, right? So it was hard enough to get one pump down, for real. I mean, I kept knocking these socks off. Mine were different, as you see in the video. Long sock. They kept popping off, and I'm telling you, what a pain to fish those out. I mean, you need a claw grabber and some luck, honestly. So just for your information, I was doing dry fit, and I was trying it in on the left side of the pocket, not where this goes, because I was trying to fit it and there's no way. So I pulled the sending unit out, then I was trying to reattach it on the tank, right? So obviously here's, sorry, let me try to set this up properly. Front of the tank, inside, and then the sending unit. I don't think it's that much curve, but just, so this goes on, and then the pump bracket goes on. This slides in on the front of the tank. This has to go on prior to the pump bracket. So the let me grab my bearings. The bracket for the sending tank or sending unit goes on first, then this slides in. Now mind you, I will give you an in-tank view with just the bracket so you can get a glimpse of, this is tight. This has to snug all the way down. Like, it's pretty tight. Like, let me give you a good shot. It will be like something like this. Now I'm just trying to imitate how it looked on my other camera that I was using in the tank. So it's real tight. So now let's try to play this out. So this has to go on right here. There's not much room in the tank to maneuver this. And you see this plastic right here, it hits the rod. So I'm gonna try again, but I failed already and spent like 3 or 4 hours trying. So trying to get this into that clamp without like breaking this is, like I said, $300 to try to get it to maneuver in. I mean, and then we don't even have the hoses on the pumps, right? So man, it is like a Rubik's Cube, but probably even worse, because you're working in a space that's like, I think 11 inches from the tank to the rear deck. I like stick my head in there and that's basically all I could fit, and maybe an arm, but you feel all cramped. So I'm gonna get some shots for you, but this sending unit sits right directly where this bottom piece goes into the tank. So I just don't see this working. I called Power House Racing, spoke with one of the customer service reps, and he's stating that some of these tanks might be different, and obviously this might be my case. So what I told him is I was able to put them in the pocket to the left, so would be more of the center of the tank, a little bit more to the center, but the rod isn't shaped correctly to hold it, but it's close. If I took the angle out up here, make this more of a 45, and maybe play with this angle right here, it looks like it could sit into that saddle piece. That's where I had my other pump on the Y to the left. So let's see. I'm gonna put this up for you, get some good snapshots. And a side note, so it comes with these covers. I'm actually gonna take these off. They're on there pretty good. As long as your work area is clean, I wouldn't worry about it, but I was dry fitting these and I had lost one of the caps. It fell right off and I had to empty the tank. Of course I was emptying it, but put my shop vac to a smaller hose, like a 1-inch inner diameter, and vacuum my tank to get this little plastic piece out. One like that. It was on this side. They fall off pretty easy, so be careful. But let's get you those shots. So here's an in-tank view while I'm putting in the sending unit bracket. Mind you, I have a camera and it's still pretty difficult. So you get that slid in, and then I'm installing the twin 485 liter per hour wall brawls. Just got to get it down in there. It's pretty easy on this side of the tank. So all you got to do is get it down into the tank and then situate the fork past the sending unit bracket. There's 2 slots, and situate it in there. And it's a pain in the butt. You have no leverage. I'm doing it from the back seat, and just wiggle it and it'll go eventually. It's very hard to get to this area, like I said. You could use the end of a screwdriver and try to push it down on one of the lips, you know, the lips where the bolt slides in. That seemed to work for me a couple times, but this time I got it in by pushing it down with my palm. So you see how it's tight against, the rod is tight against the bracket for the sending unit. That's how it should be for this install. This will not work, or did not work for me. I am actually putting together the part 2 for this video, because this is where pretty much I was stumped. So you see the pumps, the left side. So we're looking from the back, basically from the rear of the trunk. The left one is on the left side towards the center. The right one's towards the right, exactly where the sending unit goes. That sending unit goes all the way down to the bottom of the tank. So this is why I'm not able to install this one. So this is from the front side of the tank, just giving you a view of how it looks with some lighting there. So that left side is exactly where the sending unit goes. Now that's not placed exactly where it should be, but obviously you can see the chamber where that sending unit should go down. So I have a fix to it for this kit for now, and I'll show you that in part 2. So hold on and bear with me.